Hey y'all, and welcome to our lesson about fractional distance. So fractional distance is a distance that's only partway in between things. It is a formula. So to find fractional distance, you need to consider the distance traveled in both the x and y directions on their own. So you have a formula for x, where the new x value is the beginning x value plus the fraction times the difference in x's. And the y new value is very similar. It's the original, the starting point, plus the fraction times the differences in the y. And your x1, y1 should be your starting point, and your x2, y2 should be where you're going to. And with all this information, we're just going to straight up plug into a formula. So let's do an example. We have points A and B are located as follows. A is at 2, 4, B is at 8, 13. Find point C, which is 2/3 the distance from A to B. So starting at A, because we're from A, so I'm going to label this x1 and y1, and B would then be our x2 and y2. I would say x new equals x1 plus the fraction times x2 minus x1. And now I just plug in what I have labeled. X new equals x1 was labeled 2. Our fraction was 2/3. x2 was labeled 8. x1 was labeled 2. And now I can just type that in my calculator. 2 plus 2/3 of 6. X new equals 2 plus 4. And our x value would equal 6. And we'll do the same thing for our y new value. Y new equals y1 plus a fraction of y2 minus y1. Okay, we're looking for y new. We have y1 was given as 4, plus the fraction was 2/3. y2 was labeled as 13. y1 was labeled as 4. Type that into the calculator, you get y equals 4 plus 6, and your y new would equal 10. So if our x value is 6 and our y value is 10, our point is 6, 10. Another example, you could do it on the graph, and you could do it two ways. I'm going to show you with the formula way, and then I'll show you kind of a shortcut way. So from D to H, D is at -4, 4, so this is x1 and y1. H is at 1, -1, so that's x2, y2. And we go, our x new is equal to x1 plus the fraction of x2 minus x1. And our x new would equal -3. Our y new is equal to our y1, which was 4, plus the fraction of y2 minus y1. And our y new, if we type that into the calculator, would give us 3. And our point would be at -3, 3, which we go to graph, and it's right here. Now another way we could do it, right, is if we have a graph, we could just count. We have D to H is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 x values. So if I'm going 1/5 of the x values, and I want 5, I just go 1/5 of that, and I'm going to change my x by 1, which would put me down to right here. Draw the arrow down to the line, and look, you still get the exact same point of -3, 3. Now, I'm going to default to using the formula, but that is a quicker way to do it if you just have a graph. Find m on xy, that is 1/4 the distance from x to y. Well, x is at, let's see, -4, -3. So that's x1 and y1. Y is at 2, 5. So that's x2 and y2. Our x new equals x1 plus the fraction of x2 minus x1. X new is equal to -4 plus 1/4 of 6 would be 1.5. and x new would be at negative 2.5. And our y new would be equal to our y1 plus the fraction, y2 minus y1. Y new would be at negative 3 plus 2, or y new would be at negative 1. And our graph would end up at negative 2.5, negative 1. So we go to negative 2.5, we go to negative 1. I know it's a black on black, so it's hard to see, but that ends up being right there. And again, you could have just done it the way we did it on the last graph. We go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. A quarter of 8 is 2, so I go up 1, 2, go over to my line, and look, I'm still at that exact same point. And our last example is a word problem. Your sister decides to bury her key in the yard. She buries her key between the front porch and the rose bush. She buries her key 1/4 of the way from the porch, so that's going to be our 1s, x1, y1, to the roses, that's going to be x2, y2. Determine the location. So, okay, we have x new is equal to x1 plus the fraction of x2 minus x1. Plug those numbers in. x1 was labeled 1. The fraction was 1/4. x2 was labeled 16. x1 was labeled 1. X new would equal to 1 plus 15 over 4, or x new would equal 19 over 4 is how I'm going to leave it. Y new would equal y1 plus the fraction of y2 minus y1. Y new, y1 was equal to 2. The fraction was 1/4. Y2 was 14. Y1 was 2. Type that into your calculator, you would get y new equals 2 plus 3, or y new equals 5. And so the key would be buried at 19 over 4, comma 5. And that is it. If you have any questions about how to use this formula, please feel free to ask your teacher. Thanks, guys.